ready.
Oh, Jimmy, you're ready. All right.
Well, you got shit to read? Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. Okay. I've got shit to read. That's not what I mean. That's not what I mean. Hey, thank you for addressing my meet and greet question. Your ticks are definitely fairly priced. By the way, thanks for thinking of your fans. Jason, that's what we like to do, amigo. We can't get over how much some stuff is. Degenerate Society, thank you so much. Corey Bush took one look at the woman and proclaimed, "It's not a tuma. Hallelujah." Musically
It's
assured.
not a tumor.
Should have
That's
prayed.
how you should say that.
It's not a tumor.
It's not a tumor.
It's not a tumor. Hallelujah. Or watch out for the dog. The dog
It's
came
not
back.
a tumor.
Should have prayed for her to have a house. NG. Max Blumenthal mentioned on Scott Horton's show author rogue historian named David Irving, who was arrested recently. Seems like an interesting guy. Degenerate Society. Thank you. Corey Bush would rather give you a BS spiritual healing than fight to give you real universal health care. Look at, well, you know, when you have somebody with those healing powers, we don't fucking need health care. Tom.
Moratorium.
Oh, I remember that. Yes, I do. And they spent the night outside like good girls.
But she's a pastor.
Yes. Maxwell. Thank you,
know why she's a
Maxwell.
pastor?
Why?
Because she can live in her house, call it a church, tax write-off.
Oh, yeah, I thought it. Well, I was just weirded out by a woman pastor, but
You can
that
show
makes
Kurt.
more sense.
All right, here we go. Degenerate Society, thank you so much. Trying to super chat about an energy healing method that has been proven through studies to cure YouTube censoring it. William Bankston. That's Bengston. SS. Article, Martine Rothblatt, a founding father of transgender, aka transhumanism. I'm TS,
That's right.
and this is crazy to us as
She
well.
made, highest paid female CEO
Salvatore, thank you. In regard to that PBS interview, man, these
course.
people need better writers on the John.
Men are better at being a woman than a woman.
Back to Jimmy.
I say it at every show. I talk about how much better trans women are than regular, harder to clean women. And boy, these women don't like it. And I say, take it. Pussy got the butthole. It is what it is.
Kurt, I didn't send you the story today, but I think everyone is going to be shocked, but not shocked at the story.
I'm confused because
this is what? What do you?
Just say it for it because
this is from Reuters. Pentagon ran a secret anti-vax campaign to undermine China during the pandemic. The Pentagon. So remember they tell you it's randos and we got to censor everybody? Guess who they don't censor? The Pentagon. And what was the Pentagon doing? Well, at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, the U.S. military launched a secret campaign to counter what it perceived as China's growing influence in the Philippines, a nation hit especially hard by the deadly virus. The clandestine operation has not been previously reported. It aimed to sow doubt about the safety and efficacy of vaccines and other life-saving aid that was being supplied by China. Though through phony internet accounts meant to impersonate Filipinos, the military's propaganda efforts morphed into an anti-vax campaign. Social media posts decried the quality of face masks, test kits, and the first vaccine that would become available in the Philippines, the Chinese vaccine.
Oh, that's for Pfizer or something, right?
Yeah, so guess who the military's working for? The military, again, just like the CIA doesn't work for the president, the FBI doesn't work for the president. The military, DARPA, they all work for corporations. Yeah. This country's run by, we live in an oligarchy. This is a corporatocracy. This is not a democracy.
Just for the record, Jimmy, when we saved all those Nazi lives after World War II, and merged them into the CIA, we put Nazis in every corporation. So notice how people have been labeled Nazis that were not Nazis. Yeah. And meanwhile, every company from World War II that helped Hitler is still bigger than ever. Isn't that weird?
So Reuters identified at least 300 accounts on Twitter that match descriptions shared by former U.S. military officials familiar with the Philippines operation. So none of those people got banned.
Yeah, that's
But
racist.
you know who did? Dr. Robert Malone. People like that.
For being racist.
Almost all were created in the summer of 2020 and centered on the slogan, China, I don't know how to say that. Chinang virus. It's a taglog for China is the virus.
That's more racist than Kung Flu by a lot.
That is.
Yeah.
So here it is.
China is the virus. Okay. I mean, we do make our viruses there. See, I'm confused as to why. So we make a virus there and then made the best man win curing it with a fake vaccine?
So they would say, look, do you want that? China is the virus. COVID came from China and vaccines came from China. So beneath the picture is then Philippines President Rodrigo Duterte saying, China, prioritize us, please. I'll give you more islands, Pogo, and black sand. Pogo refers to Philippine offshore gaming operations, online gambling companies that boomed during Duterte's administration. Black sand refers to the type of mining.
Oh, do we want those Pogos and black sand?
So they couldn't get the Pfizer vaccine or Moderna because we were hoarding it here in the West, and so they were begging China, give us your vaccine. And so then the Pentagon came and said, no, we're going to make everybody in the Philippines afraid of the Chinese vaccine. Can you imagine how evil that is? If you really believe the vaccine's saving lives, and if you really believe this virus is deadly, that you would do that? COVID came from China, and the vaccine also came from China. Don't trust China, a typical tweet from July 2020 read in Tagalog. The words were next to a photo of a syringe beside a Chinese flag and a soaring chart of infections. Another post read, from China, PPE, face masks, vaccine, fake, but the coronavirus is real.
What's PPE?
Personal protective something. The U.S. military anti-vax effort began in the spring of 2020 and expanded beyond Southeast Asia before it was terminated in mid-2021. Tailoring the propaganda campaign to local audiences across Central Asia and the Middle East, the Pentagon used a combination of fake social media accounts on multiple platforms to spread fear of China's vaccine. So disinformation. So the people, again, I've always told you, the biggest liars are the government. Second is then the corporate media. And third, and a distant third, are randos on social media. So this whole idea that they have to crack down and censor, they're never going to crack down the biggest liars. The biggest liars are the government, the military, the corporate media. Those are the biggest liars. They're never going to crack down on them. But they will crack down on the leading doctors and scientists. Tailoring the propaganda campaign to local audiences across Central Asia and the Middle East, the Pentagon used a combination of fake social media accounts on multiple platforms to spread fear of China's vaccines among Muslims at a time when the virus was killing tens of thousands of people each day. A key part of the strategy amplified the disputed contention that because vaccines sometimes contain pork gelatin, China's shots could be considered forbidden under Islamic law.
They do contain pork gelatin?
Well, it's a disputed contention.
Oh, well,
okay. The military program started under former President Donald Trump and continued months into Joe Biden's presidency, even after alarmed social media executives warned the new administration that the Pentagon had been trafficking in COVID misinformation. Hey, it's quite a headline. Social media executives warn lying politicians that liars at the Pentagon had been caught lying. The Biden White House issued an edict in spring 2021 banning the anti-vax effort, which also disparages vaccines produced by other rivals, and the Pentagon initiated a new internal review. A senior Defense Department official acknowledged that the United States military engaged in secret propaganda to disparage China's vaccine in the developing world, but the officials declined to provide details. I wonder why. A Pentagon spokeswoman said the U.S. military, how do you know it's a woman? The Pentagon spokeswoman, what's a woman, said the U.S. military uses a variety of platforms, including social media, to counter those malign influence attacks aimed at the U.S. allies and partners.
What?
So what they're saying is, but they did it first.
Look what it says.
She also noted that China had started a disinformation campaign to falsely blame the United States for the spread of COVID-19.
It is not the United States.
It is the United States. So they're saying we were just doing it, but they did it first.
How long is this going to work on people? Where it's like we have to do all the evils of the world to fight evil.
That's right.
And
we have to
goes, yeah. Well, the bad guys are worse.
Yeah, that's right.
How long are you to fall for that? Forever?
They're falling it for right now to fight Trump. They've become the thing they claim Trump is. They're prosecuting their own political enemies. They're making it illegal. The MAGA movement. Anyway. Here we go. In an email, the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs said that it has long maintained that the U.S. government manipulates social media and spreads misinformation. A spokesperson for the Philippines Department of Health said that the findings by Reuters deserve to be investigated and heard by the appropriate authorities of the involved. Yeah, okay.
Oh, jerk off.
Briefed on the Pentagon's secret anti-vax campaign by Reuters, some American public health experts condemned the program, saying it put civilians in jeopardy for potential geopolitical gain. When would the government ever do that? An operation meant to win the hearts and minds, endangered lives, they said.
Are these the same health experts that said gain of function is not gain of function? Fuck them.
I wonder. I don't think it's defensible, said Daniel Lucy, an infectious disease specialist at Dartmouth's Geisel School of Medicine. I'm extremely dismayed, disappointed, and disillusioned to hear that the U.S. government would do that. Really? That's a shocker to you.
I'm a bit dismayed. He helped.
So this guy,
military physician, shut the.
He's a former military physician. You're really shocked? He helped in the response to the 2001 anthrax attacks. Guess where the anthrax attacks came from? The U.S. fucking government.
How come that never comes
up? They traced those back to U.S. biolabs. And you don't know that? And so this still shocks you? And this is the guy Reuters got the comment on this. And he's shocked. The effort to stoke fear about Chinese inoculation risked undermining overall public trust in government health initiatives, including U.S.-made vaccines that became available later, Lucy and others said. Although the Chinese vaccine... So the people who were actually stoking anti-vax sentiment was the U.S. government and the Pentagon.
Well, anti-Chinese brand.
But they're saying that it undermined all. That's what that says.
I would imagine so.
Although the Chinese vaccines were found to be less effective.
Are they more effective? Is that what that means? Does that mean they made a good vaccine?
I'm gonna guess that they made a better vaccine.
What are the odds that it's not?
Well, it just turned out their vaccine was less effective, according to who?
Because Pfizer didn't even test theirs.
That's right. By Pfizer and Moderna, all were approved by the world. All those vaccines, including China's, was approved by the WHO.
And Gavi.
They were less effective at what, Kurt? Generating profits for big pharma?
Yeah.
I think that's what they mean.
Yeah.
The Chinese vaccines were less effective at generating profits for big pharma in America. Academic research published recently has shown that when individuals develop skepticism towards a single vaccine, the doubts often lead to uncertainty about other inoculations.
Okay. Are you joking? Somebody had to sit and do research to figure out that once you realize you've been lied to about one thing, you start to get suspicious about a lot of things.
So listen to this, Kurt. This will even get you pissed off more. Lucy and other health experts say they saw such a scenario play out in Pakistan. What happened there? Well, the CIA used a fake hepatitis vaccination program in Abbottabad as cover to hunt for Osama bin Laden, the terrorist.
Are you what?
They used a fake hepatitis vaccination program.
So the people are not vaccinated.
So that program was fake.
So that's like Tuskegee, where they didn't treat the people that had it.
Yeah, similar. Discovery of the ruse led to a backlash against an unrelated polio vaccination campaign, including attacks on healthcare workers, contributing to the reemergence of polio in that country.
Yeah, well, how much you want to bet that the unrelated thing was also related and might have caused some polio?
In the wake of the U.S. propaganda efforts, then Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte had grown so dismayed by how the few Filipinos were willing to be inoculated that he threatened to arrest people who refused vaccinations. You choose vaccine or I will have you jailed, a masked Duterte said.
Wait.
Yes.
Why did he wear a mask?
If you're vaccinated, why are you wearing a mask?
Oh, okay. I was imagining, I'm so dumb. I was imagining a ski mask. Like he was holding them
Oh,
hostage.
no.
He had just a medical mask.
There's like a bank robber mask.
Like, wow, that country is wild.
There is a crisis in this country. I'm just exasperated by Filipinos not heeding the government.
Oh, my God.
Some Filipino healthcare professionals and former officials contacted by Reuters were shocked by the U.S. anti-vax effort, which they say exploited an already vulnerable citizenry. Public concerns about a dengue fever vaccine rolled out in the Philippines in 2016 had led to a broad skepticism toward inoculations overall. The Pentagon campaign preyed on those fears.
That the Pentagon caused and has caused the whole time?
To implement the anti-vax campaign, the Defense Department overrode strong objections from top U.S. diplomats in Southeast Asia at the time. So the U.S. diplomats, who are at least get appointed by someone who was elected, were overrode by unelected military people. Completely. Why? Because they don't work for the president. They don't work for the Congress. They work for corporations. Sources involved in this planning and execution say the Pentagon, which ran the program through the military's Psychological Operations Center in Tampa, Florida, disregarded the collateral impact that such propaganda may have on innocent Filipinos. We weren't looking at this from a public health perspective, said a senior military officer. We were looking at how we could drag China through the mud.
Why are we making viruses there if that's what we want to do?
And he added, we're all a bunch of sick fucks, said the senior military officer. We are all a bunch of sick fucks, because they are. In uncovering the secret U.S. military operation, Reuters interviewed more than 24 current and former U.S. officials, military contractors, social media analysts, and academic researchers. Reporters also reviewed Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram posts, technical data, and documents about a set of fake social media accounts used by the U.S. military. Some are still active more than 5 years later. Over the last decade, some U.S. national security officials have pushed for a return to the kind of aggressive, clandestine, meaning secret propaganda operations against rivals that the United States wielded during the Cold War. Following the 2016 U.S. presidential election, in which Russia used a combination of hacks and leaks to influence voters, they didn't do either of those things. Reuters is now lying to you. The calls to fight back grew louder inside Washington. They're still pushing Russiagate. That's what this is. This is Russiagate. So Reuters is still pushing Russiagate.
But it says hacks and leaks to influence voters.
Hacks.
That's not, okay, hacks and leaks is not fake information. Hacks and leaks means we found out real stuff.
They're talking about the hack of the DNC computer. They didn't do that server.
No, I know. But even if they had hacked, this is why I've never understood. If Russia hacked Hillary and I found out she's a lizard
they told you the
monster,
truth,
I don't care that they hacked her.
Right.
I would like to know who's a lizard monster.
That's
not
right.
that she is a lizard monster.
That's correct.
Because lizards are like a better creature than that.
They never said that those emails were fake. They never said that anything. Anyway, so in 2019, Trump authorized the CIA to launch a clandestine campaign on Chinese social media aimed at turning public opinion in China against its government. As part of that effort, a small group of so everything that they say Russia and China are doing, the United States is doing first. Everything that they say they're doing.
Look, a small group of operatives using bogus
online identities.
I don't police tweets?
That's right.
There you go.
Online identities to spread disparaging narratives about Xi Jinping's government.
What do you think? They just do that there? So all these people, you're like, why is he saying that? Because it's the same operation.
COVID-19 galvanized the drive to wage psychological operations against China.
It didn't. It happened before.
I know. One former senior Pentagon leader described the pandemic as a bolt of energy that finally ignited the long-delayed counteroffensive against China's influence.
Oh, my God. I hate the Pentagon.
See?
Fuck you for your service.
Fuck you for your service. China's messaging got Washington's attention. Trump subsequently coined the term China virus as a response to Beijing's accusation that the U.S. military exported COVID to Wuhan. They did. That was false. And rather than having it, Fauci through the CIA cutout Echo Health Alliance funded the gain-of-function research that gave us the COVID-19 virus. Is that what that means?
I don't know what part of this honestly, I don't even know what the story is from this. There's so many agendas in one article,
right?
That it's easier to sort out UFO crap than this.
Beijing didn't limit its global so they're trying to pretend that China's still the bad guy. That's what the job of Reuters here. We'll let you tell it. This is what happened. We'll let Reuters tell the story about how the government was actually doing the exact thing we were claiming Russia and China were doing, and we were making people turn anti-vax. We'll let you tell that part of the story if you also tell the bullshit part that China's still the bad guy, and we were just responding to them being the bad guy. They're really still the bad guy. We're just fighting fire with fire. That's why Reuters is allowed to tell this story.
Hey, by the way, China might be the bad guy. You're the horrible guy.
Yeah.
The Pentagon, you are horrible people. You're the worst people that ever lived on this planet. And I think you're worse than China.
So you want to hear, it says Beijing didn't limit its global influence efforts to propaganda. It announced an ambitious COVID assistance program, which included sending mass ventilators and its own vaccines, still being tested at the time, to struggling countries. So what they're saying is that China actually gave material help to people struggling with COVID.
Right.
They didn't only just do propaganda, they were helping people.
By the way, masks didn't help. I think the ventilators didn't help.
No, the ventilators did not help.
I'm not clear on their vaccines, but this seems like a real dick measuring contest between... I don't understand why they collaborated with this.
In May 2020, Xi announced that the vaccine China was developing would be made available as a global public good and would ensure vaccine accessibility and affordability in developing countries. Guess who didn't do that? The United States. Washington's plan, called Operation Warp Speed, was different. It favored inoculating Americans first, and it placed no restrictions on what pharmaceutical companies could charge developing companies for the remaining vaccines that were not used by the United States.
This is all theater for some bullshit of making money on this is like such horseshit.
The deal allowed the companies to play hardball with developing countries, forcing them to accept high prices. The deal sucked most of the supply out of the global market. The United States took a very determined America-first approach. So China is the good guy in this story. They were making their vaccines available to everybody at a low price. You know who wasn't? The United States, Pfizer, Moderna. To Washington's alarm, China offers of assistance were tilting the geopolitical playing field across the developing world, including in the Philippines, where the government faced upwards of 100,000 infections in the early months of the pandemic. Duterte said in July 2020 speech he had made a plea to Xi Jinping that the Philippines be at the front of the line as China rolled out the vaccines. He vowed in the same speech that the Philippines would no longer challenge Beijing's aggressive expansion in the South China Sea, upending a key security understanding Manila had long held with Washington.
The whole article is about this.
That's right. There it is.
None of the other shit means anything. Just that. That's what means
there
anything.
It is.
By the way, the virus, the vaccine, your life.
So
these countries, and I don't think China's a good guy either, by the way. I think they're all playing it because they helped us make a virus. What? You think China don't know we make viruses there? But it's all about so this big game, and China had a little advantage in this big game of risk.
That's it.
And you're a plastic piece.
So that's it. Yeah. This was China's got a little bit of an advantage in the game of risk, if you know what that game is.
That's all it is.
With the Philippines, and so they were like, hey, fuck that.
Why would you vote or join the military or support a country? Why would you be part of any of this ever the fuck again when you see this shit? Why would you ever be part of it?
Here, U.S. military leaders feared that China's COVID diplomacy and propaganda could draw other Southeast Asian countries, such as Cambodia and Malaysia, closer to China.
That's what it's about.
Furthering its regional... That's...
Two criminal countries collaborated on this thing, and China got the better of our criminals. That's what this is. There ain't no good guys nowhere, by the way. Every authority is a piece of shit, and if you believe in them and vote for them, you're dumb.
And so the goal was to ensure that the region understood the origin of COVID while promoting skepticism toward what were then still untested vaccines offered by China that they said had lied continually since the start of the...
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, China's the liars. At least 6 senior State Department officials responsible for the region objected to this. So that's the State Department, which are the people who are appointed by people you actually vote for. They said, don't do this. Guess what the military said? Fuck you, we're doing it anyway. The military is now completely acting on its own. They did it under Trump, and they're still doing it under Biden. So the CIA, the FBI, the NSA, the Pentagon, they don't work for the elected people. You don't live in a goddamn democracy. Democracy is not on the ballot. Dementia's on the ballot. Democracy is not on the ballot. Your democracy was stolen from you decades ago. What?
We're stooping lower than the Chinese. You armed Nazis, you scumbags.
They're right now armed. Yeah, we're stooping lower than the Chinese, and we should not be doing that, said a former senior State Department official for the region who fought against the military operation.
This is some pissing contest in the upper levels over where's our next theater war going to be, China or this Ukraine thing. I mean, none of this has to do with any citizen of any country. It has to do with power players and their little games they're doing.
So now so there's a lot of shit. I'm not going to go into it.
Oh my God!
It's this, but you know what the real story is.
A pig derivative. By the way, all the food has fetal abortion cells in it. That's a fact. There's a chemical name. The stem cells in there make food taste better. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
It's in everything. The halal, the kosher food.
Facebook executives had first approached the Pentagon in the summer of 2020, warning the military that Facebook workers had easily identified the military's phony accounts. But did they make them take them down? No. The government, Facebook argued, was violating Facebook's policies by operating the bogus accounts and by spreading COVID misinformation. And so what did Facebook do? Did they crack down? The military argued that many of its fake accounts were being used for counterterrorism. And asked Facebook not to take down the content, according to 2 people familiar. The Pentagon pledged to stop spreading COVID-related propaganda, and some of the accounts continued to remain active on Facebook. Nonetheless, the anti-vax campaign continued into 2021 as Biden took office. By spring of 2021, the National Security Council ordered the military to stop all anti-vaccine messaging. We were told we needed to be pro-vaccine, pro-all vaccines, said a former military officer. Even so, Reuters found some anti-vax posts that continued. I
don't even understand who am I supposed to root for in this?
Right?
There's no one. I don't see anybody. Why is everything?
I like this. Reuters could not determine why the campaign didn't end immediately with the NSC's order.
Wait, what's the NSC again?
National Security Council.
All these 3-letter agencies, fuck you if you work for them. I hate your 3 letters.
A senior Defense Department official said that those complaints led to an internal review. Oh, I bet they're going to get to the bottom of this, which uncovered the anti-vaccine operation. The probe also turned up there's gambling in this casino? Anyway, the probe also turned up other social and political messaging that was many, many leagues away from any acceptable military objective. Really?
There's some little civil war going on. That's what that is.
The review intensified the following year, the official said, after a group of academic researchers at Stanford University flagged some of the same accounts as pro-Western bots in a public report. The high-level Pentagon review was first reported by the Washington Post, which also reported that the military used fake social media accounts to counter China's message that COVID came from the United States. But the Post report did not reveal that the program evolved into the anti-vax propaganda campaign. The senior defense official said that the Pentagon had rescinded parts of Espert's 2019 order that allowed military commanders to bypass the approval of U.S. ambassadors when waging psychological operation.
So wait, are you saying that they saved a bunch of lives, by the way? Is that what we're saying? I wish I never took it, the safe, effective vaccine. I wish I never took that shit. So did China thank the Pentagon?
So the rules now, Kurt, the rules now mandate that the military commanders have to work closely with U.S. diplomats.
What?
No, they don't. The policy also restricts psychological operations. So they fuck off until they want to break it. The Pentagon's audit concluded that the military primary contractor handling the campaign, General Dynamics IT, had employed sloppy tradecraft.
Instead of misinformation, disinfo, let's call it tradecraft.
Sloppy tradecraft.
You like a little sloppy tradecraft?
Taking inadequate steps to hide the origin of fake accounts, said, they didn't do it good enough. The review also found that military leaders didn't maintain enough control over its PSYOP contractors.
If you're a PSYOP contractor, really fuck you for your service, you cunt. There's people working PSYOPs that are military, and they're cunts for being in that. You're a piece of shit. Why do we even have that?
Guess what? In February, the contractor that worked on the anti-vax campaign, General Dynamics, they won a $500 million contract. Its mission to continue providing secret influence services for the military.
They do that here. That's what the Smith Modernization Act did. They're not just doing it to China. They do it here.
So they're getting billions of dollars in taxpayer money to spread misinformation. That's what they do for a living, baby.
You're worried about tweets.
And you're worried about randos.
Shit libs. Oh, no, there's Twitter. We got to go to Threads.
Joe Rogan.
Fucking
Edward
Christ.
Snowden said, uneffing believable. If the government ever so much as breathes the word disinformation again, every journalist in the room had better turn their backs on the podium. They're stealing hundreds of millions of dollars from taxpayers at a minimum to poison the internet. That's what this tells you.
Yeah.
The Pentagon spent $500 million promoting fake news with fake social media accounts about COVID vaccines in the Philippines to undermine China. Yet they also want to shut down TikTok because of misinformation.
No, that's for Israel. That's not to help China. That's to help Israel.
That's right. Okay, well, now you know the rest. That's quite a story. I know it took a long time to get through it.
What
Thanks
a shitbag country this is, man. Why would you ever... I mean, you must be a jag.
Can you believe those asshole comedians who told you to fucking shut up and believe the government and Fauci during COVID?
No, but I wouldn't, I wouldn't deal with that.
I still.
A lot of them are like afraid of me. I have to say, none of them are like, I'm not talking to you. They're like, it's always been that way.
Oh,
like
really?
Punk ass alt rooms.
Over to stuff.
Okay, SS says, jokes on people who think our BS healthcare system heals more than spiritual healing done right. SS. Musically assured, Lenin was propped up by German intelligence to destabilize Tsarist Russia during World War I. Look into it. Maxwell, the ism that Kurt likes is nihilism.
No, it isn't. Shut up, idiot. Oh my God, I gotta hear you stupid. Fuck your little thing that you believe in.
El rock and rolla.
Nihilism. What is that? Tell me what it means, dipshit. Put that in a comment. Tell me what it means.
Maxwell, what does it mean? What does nihilism mean? Come right back. All right. It's odd that the interview comes on the heels of the El Thespians, Space Witches of Star Wars, Acolyte Disney streaming service by Weinstein's ass.
Did you see that?
Leslie Headland. I did not.
Weinstein's assistant made a Star Wars series where a bunch of witches, like Force witches, I guess scissor to make girl twins. It's like there's no good or evil. There's it's literal witchcraft shit she's into. That she put into it.
No.
You know, Hollywood people are into occult bullshit.
Yeah.
They love that nonsense. Well, so does Leslie. She worked as an assistant to Harvey Weinstein.
What didn't she see? Yeah.
Well, she had to hold the door closed so the person couldn't get out of the room, out of the Weinstein pit.
Omer says, you won't believe this. Once my priest come to me with his pen, okay, I guess his penis swollen. I put my hand on it and it was gone. I'm a heater too. Okay, Omer. Cag, Jimmy, did you check into being the opener for Tucker at the Sunrise Florida show on September 27th? Plus, get to Southwest Florida at some point. Some new clubs over here. The Jew and the Hillbilly. Thank you, Cag. Brian Metzger crushed 3 high noons on stage Saturday night.
Yes, I did.
Weak sauce, Brian.
It's so hot in there, you can't be drinking heavy liquor. Okay?
Yeah.
That's why people like Bud Light and all that, because they live in hot areas. You can't just drink that in the sun.
Tarek, thank you, Tarek. SS, maybe YouTube doesn't like any mention of its site William Bankston developed an energy information healing method and cured breast cancer in mice. SS, thank you for that recommendation. DC, thank you so much. Politicians are dirt cheap. You should do a give, send, go, and use the money to pay for Med for All vote. Sage and Fool. Natalie, we are all sick of money in politics yet. DC, thank you so much. I apologize. I was not trying to make anybody mad, was not stating anything about any group of people. This is something I've studied for a long time. My intent was not to irritate. Not to worry, Matthew. You are cool, amigo.
What did he say?
Thank you. It was one of the things that we started to have a discussion about earlier.
Oh.
It's hard to recall. Okay. Hiring Ron Jeremy to write/direct the next Barbie movie is the equivalent of what Disney has done by hiring Leslie Headland for Star Wars. Both of them screw over their fan base. Nappers. Chow Chow. Candace Owens. Oh, I read that one. Chow Chow. Thank you.
No, Ron Jeremy's a man. He could probably write Star Wars.
Oh.
She's not qualified because she's a lesbian witch.
You heard it here. Lesbian witch. Stone Socialist. Thank you, Stone Socialist. Already dead. Very grateful that the hashtag Zionist axis of evil is going mainstream. Zionism born in Kharkiv. Thank you, Candace and Jimmy. We are indeed fighting one enemy. Already dead. Mr. Witchy Perfect. Thank you so much. Kate Cotwas, thank you for recommending Robert Breadlove. Politicians are dirt cheap. You should do a give, send, and go. Oh, and money to pay for Med for All. I read that one. Sage and Fool. Thank you so much. Let's go with this one. Everybody is Kung Fu Fighting. My real name. Thank you. Okay. Moving forward. I got that one already, Matthew Johnson. Last week, we could rewind and catch up on Rumble. Now we can't. Costello, you're not supposed to be able to rewind. There's a reason for that. Because when you become a member of the Jimmy Dore Show, you get the entire show complete. That's your perk for $10. You can watch it again at any time in your life that you want to, or for $5 a month, you can just listen to it. Okay, so that's how it works here at the Jimmy Dore Show. DC, thank you so much. Did you know that Walt Disney also owns ABC? Yes, we did. Maybe YouTube doesn't like any mention. Oh, I read that one, right? And that was from SS. Okay, I got through all the super chats. Thank you very much, Tiller, for Disney is there for indoctrination into witchcraft for your children. Thank you, Tiller. Back to Jimmy.
rabbinical grace. soiling the mattresses. Well, let me tell you. Shut it down. If I were Rabbi Shmuley and diddle 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 digga digga diddle diddle dum, all day long I'd diddle little bums. If I were a Shmuley man, I'd peddle all my dildos, dreidel dildos, selling dildos with my daughter and her mum. If I were a Jewish Shmuley man, I'd be digging with a dildo in my bum. I'd wear a grotesque nose and go grab some goyim right on the nipple with a pinch. A Shabbos lap dance brace for the youngest mensch.
At this time, more than any other time, you know, revolution is necessary. It is necessary. Not only based on what has happened with the MOVE organization, you know, the babies that have been murdered, you know, MOVE adults that have been murdered, bombs being dropped on us, but past that to what is happening with all black people, so-called minority people, you know, money poor people. You know, this government, as has been said earlier, has waged war on us. But you know, something about us, particularly here in America, we don't really understand that. You know, we don't really know what war is. You know, for black people, for poor people, that people see as good, that they wasn't forced to do, that they didn't do to try to keep black people appeased, you know, and calm down so that black people wouldn't riot. A prison situation is a crystallized example of that. You can make phone calls in prison. They have movies in prison. But they don't have those things because they just want to be nice to prisoners. They have those things because they know damn well if they don't have, you know, people being able to contact their family, if they don't have, you know, facilities for people to sit there and watch movies, people are going to be frustrated, upset, and they're going to direct that frustration at them prison administrators. And they're going to have riots on their hands. You know, they're going to have people in them prisons turning them prisons out. That's why they have movies. That's why they have access to phones the way they do. And a stop to it when we don't like it, or encouraging it when it's something that's in our interest. You know, we have to call the shots. The people have to take the reins of this system and start dictating, you know, what we need, what needs to be done. And, you know, taking the initiative to do it ourselves. We can't rely on this system. I mean, you know, don't people see what's happening? Every single confrontation that MOVE people have been involved in, every single issue, you know, oppression, economic issues, every single issue facing our people, you know, is something that can be dealt with very, very simply. All people got to do is make their wishes known. All people have to do is stand up and say, listen, we're not accepting that. Unity is the key. Unity is the key to revolution. Revolution ain't nothing to be afraid of. It ain't nothing to shy away from. Revolution, contrary to what officials, you know, this system and those backing the officials running the system, you know, want people to believe that revolution means violence, you know, means blood in the street. I'm saying it can get to that point, but it don't have to be violent. You know, when people come together and take a strong stand on an issue, this government don't have no choice but to listen. Where you think they get their authority from? They don't have no power, but they do have authority to do certain things. Where you think they get it from? They get it from us, from the people. You know, they get it from us accepting the things that they do to be done to stop it. Then you have some people who want to then turn around and say, yeah, well, you know, it's the best we have, and want to make excuses. The time for excuses is over. It's over. You know, every man, woman, and child has to be involved in this revolution. Not only has to be, but is. whether you want to be or not. I mean, our babies gave their lives for this revolution on May 13th. You know, men, women, and children were murdered. And not just move babies, you know. What about all of the young men, women, you know, children 8, 9 years old shot down on the street by cops, you know, by drug pushers? I mean, you know, where do you think that mentality comes from? It comes from this system, from the mentality of this system of getting over, you know, making a quick buck, you know. I'm saying that's where that needs to be done to stop it. Then, you know, what I want people to really, really understand is that it's past time. It is past time for poor people, black people, you know, to realize that this system has failed you. It has failed you. You can't get nothing from it. And what people got to do is withdraw our support from it and start doing for ourselves. That's what we got to do. You know, how long are people going to sit back and beg, you know, this government to do what's right when for hundreds of years all you've gotten is a slap in the face? All you've gotten is this government kicking your ass. That's all. That's all black people have ever gotten from this government.
Hey, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there for more AM Joy and the rest of MSNBC. And click on any of the videos right here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. And you can get more videos from MSNBC for free every day with our newsletters. Just visit